already posted a short video about the most important word in the Old Testament, and this is Brit, which means covenant. And, but there's another aspect that relates to the word covenant. And this is, how do you say in Hebrew, to make covenant, to establish covenant, right? And in Hebrew it sounds like this: Lechrot Brit. Lechrot Brit. This means to make a covenant, to kind of close the deal, right? In the contemporary language, if we want to say. And it's interesting that this phrase is mentioned in Parashat Lech Lecha. It is in Genesis chapter 15, verses 9 through 18. Again, Genesis 15, 9 through 18. And he said to him, "Bring me a goat and a ram, each 3 years old," verse 9, "along with a dove and a young pigeon." Abram brought all this to him. Remember, this is still the time when Abram was Abram, not Abraham. Cut them into two. As I mentioned, Lechrot Brit actually means to cut the Brit. And Abraham brought all this to him, cut them into two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half. That means he cut the animals, he put them side to the other side. And in verses 18, we read, "On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, 'To your descendants I give this land from Valley of Egypt to the great river of Euphrates.'" And in Hebrew it reads, "Bayom hahu Carat Adonai et Avraham Brit לאמור, לזרעך נתתי את הארץ הזאת מנהר מצרים עד הנהר הגדול נהר פרת." ביום ההוא כרת אדוני את אברהם ברית. This says basically, on this day the Lord has made his covenant with Abram, promising him his land. Some verses earlier he says, "You and your descendants, you're not going to stay in Egypt. Well, you will stay for some centuries, like 400 years, and then I will take my people out of this land and I will bring them to the land that I promise here. And this is the covenant that I make with you." And that important phrase in Hebrew means Carat Brit, like you take animals, cut them into pieces. And then it says basically that the fire came from the Lord and actually walked or passed through these two parts of the dead animals. In the ancient times, to make a covenant, you would make a sacrifice. You cut the animals into two pieces, put them one side in front of another, and both parties would have to walk in between. And this is the way that you make your covenant and actually make your promise. And this is exactly what God does with Abraham. And we read in the ancient Mesopotamian literature, it's not about biblical sources, it's other sources that have the same expression or the same procedure when in ancient time they would have to cut Brit or establish a covenant between different parties. They would walk between the two dead parts of the animal. This is amazing, and this is really interesting how God takes those cultural aspects and makes a covenant with us using those habits of our daily lives that we used to follow or used to do. And he has been faithful to this covenant for centuries, even until this very day. Let me be a little bit political. In the recent claims that you hear in the Western world, when people say from the river to the sea, which means from the Jordan River to the sea, Palestine will be free. That means basically that these people want to get rid of the Jewish people. But the Lord promised them something, a different perspective for the future. He said, this land will be yours. And it's not only in the current geographical boundaries, borders that the state of Israel has right now. It actually goes beyond that. It says from until the Euphrates River, right? The great river of Euphrates. And from the Nahar Mitzrayim, which stands for the river of Egypt. God bless you. Have a very nice day. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for following me.